We are here for a live crafting session, so I hope you can join me today. I've had a few little technical difficulties, so I hope that we're going to be working. Hang on, let me shut let me shut this door behind me um real quick because I want to make sure that our sound is good. And sometimes it's better if we're in a smaller little space. How are you all? Good morning. Good morning. Let me just start by saying if you're watching this later on the replay or any time for that matter, if you are watching on the YouTube app, okay, your viewing experience will be much better. Let's just say that because I stream vertical, which means, tall ways, right? And if you're watching this on just on the YouTube, like on your TV or whatever, a lot of times my screen, your viewing space will seem very slim. But if you download the YouTube app, the viewing experience is much more um, up close and where you can see things a lot better. Okay. So I want to see who's here with us this morning. Welcome. There is a live chat. Hopefully, if you can find where that is streaming, if you're also on the YouTube app, a lot of times the live chat will also be easier for you to see as well. So come on in here. Good morning and happy Friday to you. Hello, Miss Sharon, Miss Norma, and Nancy. I'm so excited y'all are here for a Friday craft session. I'm so excited you're here. And you all been seeing, I posted a little sneak peek of some items that I think I'm going to be using today. And you probably can get these at your local Dollar Tree right now, or these little miniature little candy jar containers. That's what I'm calling them anyway. I think they resemble like some vintage canisters or candy jars, but they are glass. I think I've already taken the sticker off, but they were $1.25. We're gonna prim these up today and make them something super cute for your primitive farmhouse decor. So I hope that this gives you a little bit of inspiration on some things that you might be able to do with these and think outside of the box. There is another creator that has posted or shared some of her project creations with these jars in my All Things Primitive group on Facebook. So she has some beautiful jars. Hers were done up so cute. I think she did them maybe as like little prayer jars. They had little motivational type quotes and things on the sides. I've seen an Americana version, a primitive, let's see, not primitive. What am I trying to say? Um, Oh, like, pantry labels. I can't think of the words this morning. A pantry style label on some of them as well, and they've been really, really cute. These are the perfect little size. They don't take up a lot of room in your, on your counter space or in a tiered tray would be perfect because they're kind of short and petite. They're not overly large, but they're not too small either. So you could actually use these for some great craft room storage as well. Or I think they would be darling to put in maybe some little chocolate candies, like some M&Ms or, um, maybe even some little gumballs. I don't know. But we're going to trim these up and then you can decorate them, put them in, put anything you want in yours as well. So let's just start by taking off the lids because this flashy, shiny silver is not going to work. Boy, I'm telling you, if my brain struggles with my words as much as I have in the last 20 seconds, we're in trouble for today. Hey, Miss Darlene. Hey, Joy. How are you? Miss Stephanie, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome in. I do want to start by saying, before we go any further today, if make sure I have, yeah, this is just a black chalk paint. It's a Waverly brand. I get it at my local Walmart. I'm going to use, let's see, I need a good flat, let's just use a sponge brush. I do want to let you all know today is Friday, and every Friday over in the Craft on the Clock group, we have a fun themed crafting day in the Craft on the Clock group, and that is watchable on Facebook app. If you just go to the Facebook app and search for Craft Round with an R, the clock group over there, you will find that group. But today is Create with Plastics Day over there in the Craft on the Clock group. I'm not painting the jar, Tracy, not painting the jar. We're painting the lids. I'm telling y'all, I'm in trouble today. I might need your help keeping my brain on track today. We are just going to give a real quick coat of black chalk paint on these metal lids. Now, let me just start by saying if you want to put a quick coat of something like Mod Podge or something on your lid first, it might also help your paint adhere to this metal. But I usually have pretty good luck with chalk paint. If I'm using chalk paint on metal and glass, I usually don't ever have a problem. But then I would also recommend you kind of finish it up with another coat of something like Mod Podge or some kind of a matte sealer over top. Okay. Now it is a little streaky with your first coat. That's normal. Okay. But this goes on really good as far as coverage. Now you will have a few streaks, like I said, but your second coat will take care of that for you. And but I love the matte finish of this chalk paint. And like I said, it adheres really well to metal and glass surfaces. So that's what I use. Try to keep it simple for you all without not having a lot of extra um, supplies or different things. I kind of like to keep things simple for myself as well. Sometimes things can be overly complicated and complex. We're just going to keep it simple. So just use that chalk paint and maybe a little bit of coffee podge or whatnot. Now, coffee podge will have cinnamon in it if you make it like I do, which can give you a little added texture to your surface as well. So we are going to make up a quick batch of coffee podge today. And so I was going to do that before, but I thought, you know what? Sometimes I have many of you that message me asking how to make the coffee podge. And so I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity to just do it on a video. And those that are with you or with me live, you'll get to watch it. And those that watch it on the replay will have it there as a reference as well. So sometimes it's hard to catch everybody at the same time. So it's good to kind of offer that occasionally on a video. Now I have a little bit of excess around the corners, around the edges, I should say. No corners, this is round. But we'll get that covered good. Let that dry. Let me grab a paper towel. We are only going to be using black and white, not white white. It's an off-white. This is the Waverly brand of chalk paint, just like the black that you just saw me use. Waverly, available at my local Walmart. This color is called plaster. This is what we're going to use on our jars today. These are going to be primitive farmhouse style. Okay. Now, a lot of the things that you see me create are a little bit I would say grunged, heavily grunged. I'm gonna try to restrain myself a little bit today and not go super heavy with the grunge. Good morning, Miss Pat. How are you, friend? Miss Donna, how are you? So excited y'all are here. Okay, let's mix together. Oh, I gotta show you this. I also wanted to show you this. My friend Tracy, you all have heard me talk about her. Tracy, she is a graphics designer. She creates a lot of the labels that you see me use. Um, I don't have the one. My spring bulbs. No, I don't have it. Yeah, I do. I thought I had one over here somewhere. The spring bulbs bag project that we've been working on. I know this is backwards for you all. She creates the prettiest labels that are perfectly my style. She creates those labels, and her shop is called Crow's Feet Boutique Boo, like boo, scare you boo, BOO boutique. And she has a shop on Etsy where you can find her labels. She creates the most darling little things and sends me. Just warms my heart. She's the sweetest. Look at this. I know it's backwards, but see if you can tell what that says. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Donna. How are you? Happy spring. Hello, Miss Lori. Thanks for tuning in. Look at that. Tracy's coffee podge. Can you believe that? And she even has My Sweet Home Living, Tracy's coffee podge. And she even has the little recipe, like I don't know if I can see that. 3 parts white glue to 1 part coffee grunge. See on that corner? Is that not the cutest? I love it. I know. She has a coffee grunge. She had made me a coffee grunge one before too, and I've shared that with you all. I've got to find it. I put it on a jar. before we moved last year, and I don't know what I did with the jar. Like, that's been my life for the last year. Slowly rediscovering and finding things. I do have the label, I can print it off again, but I'll share both of these with you on my Telegram channel. And I will put that Telegram channel link for you in my video description after I'm finished with the live session today, okay? I'll put all of that info as well as the Craft on the Clock group link for you in my video description for you to find, okay? Because I know it's kind of hard to find all the things whenever you need it. Okay, what am I doing here? Two things at once? No, let's make the coffee podge first. I'm not gonna measure. Okay, I'm gonna eyeball it. Okay, but now if you want to get it kind of precise the first time you're making it, go for it. Okay, and I did cover this with some dishwasher safe Mod Podge, okay? And that way I can wash this if I need to, because sometimes it gets a little gunky. Sometimes I like to clean it out or rinse it out with some water. But that dishwasher safe Mod Podge over that label, I'm hoping will preserve it. I've never used the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, um, but maybe once in my life, and I can't really say that I tested it out to see if it works. But we're gonna make a good healthy batch of coffee podge, and I have a huge tub here of white school glue. And so I thought this would be a great time to show you. I just go all in. Go all in. I wonder if she'll make that available to us. I will share it with you, Victoria. I will share it with you on my Telegram and Messenger broadcast channels. I sure will. She gave those to me as a special gift, so I'm sure that she won't mind for me to share. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, then you see how much I have in there? And then we're gonna put, if you were dividing this, did I make a mess? No, almost. Um, if you were dividing this into thirds, okay? If you were to divide this into thirds, you want a third of this amount, probably like right there, a third of that amount added with the coffee grunge, okay? Now my coffee grunge has kind of settled, meaning my cinnamon has kind of settled all to the bottom. So I kind of need to do a quick stir because I want a lot of that cinnamon in. Goodness, it's goopy. That's good though. It is goopy goopy. But that is the cinnamon, and I want some of that cinnamon in my mixture here. So I've got to make sure that I stir this up a little bit. All right, we're going in. Do you see what we're doing there? Do you see? Okay. Now, I'm not sure how much cinnamon I actually got in there, but I can always add some more later if I need to. Now you're just going to mix it up. Let me give you a close-up view there. That's what it looks like right now. It hasn't really mixed in too much yet, but you'll start to see as I mix the Podge, it has the glue, and that's what I like to use as decoupage medium. Like a decoupage medium is just any kind of substance like Mod Podge or like a glue, like a liquid glue that helps you um, attach things to surfaces. You can also seal some types of things with this. Now, this is not a fancy dancy sealer, so um, don't rely super heavily on your sealing capabilities. I mean, it's just for crafting, okay? So if you're doing like fine furniture or something that you really need to make sure that it's super duper sealed for like ever, then you'll probably want to do like some real deal sealer. You already have the coffee grounds label. Awesome, awesome. Well, absolutely. I'll send it to you, Miss Victoria. I will send you that label. I think it's just the sweetest. Okay. It takes a minute because it doesn't really want to incorporate super easy, but I think I'm good enough for now. But kind of let me give you a look. That's kind of what the color is you're looking for. Okay. If it's not dark enough for you, at this point, add some instant coffee crystals to it. Let them give them some time to actually dissolve and kind of distribute into it. Um, but yeah, and if it's too dark, you're going to add more school glue. Okay. Get the gist there. If you want it darker, add this. If you need it lighter, add the white, the school glue. Okay. And then you'll get it down to the right um, mixture that you like. I really like that. I can see the specks of cinnamon in that, and you will not be able to see it on camera, but I can raise this up and I can see the little specks of cinnamon in it, which make my heart happy. So we're good to go. Okay. All right. That is how you make coffee podge. Smells good enough to drink, but I wouldn't recommend it. Okay. So let's get a handle on these jars. I'm just going to start with a quick coat of white chalk paint. I would probably recommend you make sure that you clean your jars really well. Rubbing alcohol does a really good job of taking off any kind of residue from stickers or oils from your hands before you paint. Did I do that? No. But I would recommend it. I would recommend it. Um, we're going to paint these all over. This chalk paint, I love the consistency. Now, sometimes it's a little too thick for me, but for something like this, I love it because I can just slap it on there. It goes on that glass and it just spreads like butter. And that's what I like. Now, these curved edges and surfaces are a little tricky. I will say they're a little tricky. Don't get too hung up on seeing streaks. Okay. Your first coat is fine. Don't worry about which direction your streaks are going. The second coat is where you'll want to kind of pay a little bit more attention to the directions of your streaking and the strokes that you have in your paint. Okay. And I'll show you that in a minute. All right. All you want to do is make sure that you get some coverage and you don't want to leave any huge clumps of wet paint. Okay. That's your goal with the first layer of paint. Okay. That, oh, I got a few extra. All right. Once it starts to dry, it's going to get a little tacky, and the more you keep moving it, it's going to start pulling the paint off. So you kind of need to know what the work time is of your paint before it starts to dry too much. But that's what we have right now. It looks messy right now. Yes, it does. Now, while that's drying, I am going to move this over here because my air, my heat rather, is on right now, and there's a little bit of a airflow right over here at the edge of my table. So I'm going to set it over there as and is my heat tool, it's plugged in, but it's not working. What? Whoa. Okay. While that one's drying, let's go ahead and do another one. I don't know if I'll do all three of these on camera today, but I do have three different designs that I want to do on these. So I will finish them and I will post a photo of all three of them styled together because I have the cutest plan. Now, whether it pans out, that's a different story. But I think we can put this together as a little set on a little primitive style tray, and I think it's going to be really cute. But y'all hang with me. Hang with me. And I always post my finished photos for you all styled. I like to style them for you to give you ideas on how to use the things that I show you how to make, right? um, you can make things all day long, but if I don't give you an idea or inspiration on how to actually use it in your home decor, sometimes we make and let things sit, and that's not the goal here. I want to help you create things that you can use in your home decoration. So that's why you see When I post photos, I like to style them to give you ideas on how to use them. All right, one more jar. And I'm going to check the comments to see how you all are doing and see where we're going while these are drying really quick. You've tried the coffee grunge. It is good. However, next time I won't put cinnamon in it because of the cinnamon went everywhere. Really? Well, I would recommend, it depends on what you're using it on. Okay. Let's just say that. If you are using it on fabric, yes, the cinnamon can come off over time. Okay. However, if you're using it on a surface, like a solid surface, if you put a sealer, like a layer of the coffee podge over top, it will seal that cinnamon to the surface to where it will not come off. Okay. Um, the more you use it, the more you will learn when the best time to use that cinnamon and when not to, honestly. I will say for most everything, I have the cinnamon in it. When I coffee stain my fabrics, anytime I use fabric, I will say that I usually, if I can, I will leave the cinnamon out of the mixture. Okay. But as far as using it on everything else, I like to keep that cinnamon in there because I know I can seal it and it will keep it all intact. But you brought up a great point. Okay. I don't know how much of the rim of this jar I will have that will be visible. So I'm just going to go right up to the edge of that jar for right now, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay. If I need to go back and cover some of that, I can always do that later. That's a quick coat of chalk paint. Love the coverage of that chalk paint. I probably went a little heavy on the first jar of the coat because I still see some areas that are kind of wet. So let me double check and make sure my heat tool is plugged in all the way. I'm hoping it's not dying on me. Ah, I gotta reach over and I don't want to get this paint on me. Y'all hang with me just for a second and we'll see if we can get this working. Okay, it worked now. We're in trouble. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness, I think I touched somewhere. I don't see it on me. I see a little scuff mark over here. So let me I'm seeing in the comments a little bit. You love the smell of cinnamon, Regina. I do too. It's so versatile and the sealer keeps everything together. You're right, Miss Pat. I totally agree with you. Hello, how are you? Um, I always laugh when I make coffee Podge because it's the color of my morning coffee. Well, absolutely. It smells divine. Let's see. I missed some of your comments. I'm scrolling back. Um, we have Canada in the house. Well, let me know where you're at. I loved that. And if you're new to me on YouTube, I would love to know that as well. I think the majority of my watchers that are here this morning are from my Facebook community, and I'm so thankful that you all are here. So thankful that you're here. We're not taking anything away from our Facebook community over there at My Sweet Home Living, but we're adding to it. And hopefully, I will get better at being able to stream at both of those places at the same time. That is my goal. I was running a little short on time this morning and didn't quite get everything set up the way I needed to stream on both, but that's the goal. And every once in a while, we will have a special segment on YouTube, just like the one we're having today. Having a special segment on YouTube, which occasionally. Hello from Minnesota. How are you? I will tell you, for those of you that are hopped on after I said this the first time, if you're watching on YouTube, I like to stream vertical, okay, which means kind of tall video format. If you watch, if you download the YouTube app and you're watching on the YouTube app, your viewing experience will be much better. Okay. I just wanted to let you know that. So if I use the YouTube app, And let me go over here. If I use the YouTube app on my phone, it's full screen. It is full screen, and I just swiped something. But now if you're watching it, like, on a television or a computer or just the regular youtube.com, your viewing pleasure will not be quite as well. I'll be really small, tall, and slender, which I love, but you'll feel like you're missing out on the up close views of everything. Good morning from Tennessee, Tamara. I can see the comments right here. Yes, you're watching on the YouTube app. Perfect, Brenda. That's the way to do it, I think, anyway. Hello from New Castle, Pennsylvania. Welcome. Cheryl from Oklahoma. What kind of brush? I'm just using a sponge brush. Just a cheapio sponge brush. Okay. I'm not gonna worry about getting all three of these jars completely dry. I'm gonna start with these two because maybe I am gonna get that side. I didn't get that side quite all the way dry. You're in the app too. Awesome, Wanda. And I think with the app, you're also able to see the live chat a lot easier. So I think that helps out too. Okay. Um, here we go here. Uh, let's just use this as a phone stand, and I can see your comments right here. That's not good. Now, while these are drying, here you go. We're gonna do double here, double time. I'm gonna set this little wood block right here to hold my heat on that jar a little bit. This one is dry. So the next coat, I'm going in. Now, if you see streaks with this coat, you want to make sure that you have your streaks going in the right direction. I don't think I'm going to see a whole lot of streaks in this coat. If you have a really good thick chalk paint, I don't think you will either. Okay. In fact, this chalk paint sometimes can almost be too thick. Sometimes it can work against you. I just want to make sure that I get that jar good and covered so that I don't see any of the streaks from that first coat shining through. And then it doesn't look very primitive farmhouse style yet, does it? But I'm going to show you all of that in the next set of steps. Okay. It's some kind of a layering technique of color when it comes to adding that primitive farmhouse style to it. Okay. That up really well. These little rounded surfaces, kind of tricky. There we go. I love that. That's the second coat, and it turned out really well. Like I said, you'll know the workability of your jar, and if you keep painting too long, you can actually start to take the paint off instead of adding it. So that's what we're working with. Hello, Miss Laura from Buffalo, New York. Did you make the primitive pancakes? Awesome. I'm so excited. Um, from North Carolina, Miss Terry. Is it cold in North Carolina too? I'm telling you, we were all nice and warm here in Kentucky. And boy, oh boy, that's still a little warm. Um, yeah, Old Man Winter said, "Oh, you're not done with me yet." Now we do have some beautiful sunshine this morning, but we did dip down to 29 last night. So I don't think we have any more freezing temperatures in like the next couple weeks on the forecast anyway, but I did surrender. I just gave in. I gave in and I bought some ferns for my front porch the other day. I found some beautiful ferns. They had just come in, grabbed them at Walmart for $10, like they were $9 and something a piece. So basically $10 a fern. And I thought, you know what? I got them $12 a piece last year at Lowe's, and I thought that was a good deal. I think $10 is even better because I need several. I need like 4 or 5 for my front porch. And so I grabbed 4 of them and I hung them out. And but I had to bring them in last night. I was like, "Yeah, that's what you get for, buying things early." But now I have all of my garden seed and everything already started, with some lights on those. I've germinated all of my seeds for my garden. I'm keeping that in my basement, so I'm excited about that. But I'm always eager to get the plants and the flowers in probably way earlier than I should. Way earlier than I probably should, but that's all right. Okay, I'm just gonna let these dry. Hold on here, because if I had a couple extra arms and hands, I'd be in good shape. I'm seeing a few streaks on this jar where I'm just kind of touching it up. All right. We're going to stop there with the painting, okay? And we're going to kind of move on. We're going to let these kind of continue drying on their own. Oh, ooh, those aren't dry yet either. Let's move those over to the heat. Let them get the heat. Let me wipe this off my hands. Um, you're loving it in the chat, and viewing is much better with the YouTube app. Awesome, Wanda. Um, it does feel like you're missing out on something when you're not using the YouTube app because the view is not quite as well. 70s day before yesterday, and bam, we had cold. Oh, we had flurries. Oh my gosh. Yes, it is cold. How are you, Miss Regina? I think it's awesome you have outdoor plates available already. Oh my goodness. Did you get snow again, Miss Pat? Miss Pat is in Canada. Goodness, goodness. I did. I mean, we have some things already out in stores and garden centers and things. Mostly like pansies and like cool season type flowers. Now pansies, they can overwinter for the most part, but so I did grab some little pansy packs. If you all know what pansies are, they're usually one of the first little flower packs that you see in the garden centers in early spring because they can do the cold weather. Good morning, Miss Deborah. How are you? Welcome in. All right. I think I think I do want to make sure this is good and dry. Okay. I'm making them. I want to make them right. I'm not going to rush it. Not going to rush it. It's snowing right now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, it is sunny right now, and I will say we've had a ton of rain lately. Rain and storms, and for heaven's sakes, wind. Wind has been absolutely terrible. Um, I shared a video over on my Facebook page. Was not last night, the night before. We had a storm rolling in, and it just looked so creepy. It was right at nightfall. It was still bright enough I could see the silhouettes of all the trees in our back field back here, and the chicken coop was all lit up. So it looked like, I don't know, like haunted chicken coop on Halloween or something. All it was missing was a moon in the sky, but the lightning was flashing in the background, and you could see the silhouette of the trees, and you could hear the howl of the wind. And I don't know if you could really hear it on video as well as I could in person, but we are surrounded by forests on all, well, let's say three sides of our house, both sides and the back. And it was just howling. And so whenever the wind is really intense, the noise is like super, like, you don't know the sound of the wind until you live in the middle of the woods. I'll just say that. I don't really know how else to explain it. Good morning. Good morning. You finally figured out how to chat on YouTube. See, I'm telling you, this is amazing. You just have to give it a try. Um, if you are interested in watching, I know many of you are probably coming over from Facebook, but we are hoping to have something similar on I guess I left my scissors. Oh, no, they are. Similar to Craft on the Clock. Craft on the Clock has a YouTube channel as well. We have not used it for quite some time, um, but it is there. And so, if you're interested in watching live crafting, a lot of times I know for some people they do watch YouTube on their TV. Okay, there is a way that you can download the YouTube app on your TV. Okay, don't be confused with the app YouTube TV. Now that's separate. That's like a regular like TV service. But you can download the YouTube app on your TV and watch there. So if it's something that you like to watch on a daily basis, you can download that app on your TV. And we are hoping to kind of set up and get organized over there pretty soon to where you can watch live streaming. Crafting videos and DIY crafting videos on our Craft on the Clock YouTube channel. Okay. It just takes a little time for us to get all the planning in the works. Now, so let me show you what I'm going to be using on these jars. These are the sweetest little farmhouse labels. Okay. This is from one of my other. I know you all are asking me all the time where I find my labels that I use. I have several designers that I like and follow religiously. No, just joking. But I love them so much that there's 3 of them. Cl I just talked about my friend Tracy at Crow's Feet Boutique. She's the one that creates things like this one, and the spring bulbs one. The other label shop, and I have not used any of hers in a while, but, her shop is called The Chocolate Rabbit on Etsy. And this one, the ones that I'm using right now are from a designer, and her shop is called Cloud Petals, like flower petals, Co. I can write it down for you. Maybe. I don't have an ink pen. Gosh, I thought I had a marker over here. Anyway, Cloud Petals Co. That is the name of her shop. Now these are um they're farmhouse animals, okay? Um and she has a whole set. There is a set of 12. I only printed 3, okay? The 3 that I'm choosing to use are these right here. Take a look. I have a sweet little chicken, mama hen on there. I have a sweet little farmhouse sheep and then a little farmhouse rabbit. I think these are perfect for all year round. So that's what I'm going with. Now, she has 12 of these total designs. There are 2 different cows, there's a rooster, there's another one that has 2 or 3 chickens in it. There's a horse. I don't know what all the others are, but you get the gist. She has 12 of them. I just printed 3 of them and enlarged them a little bit. She designed them as tags. So if you want to use them as tags, you can as well. She has a little spot where you can punch out a little hole right there. We're going to disguise that little punch out little spot right there. And I'm going to use them on the side of my jars. Okay. So now I will say the only problem with using, oh, I wanted to use this sheep one. I want to use this sheep one first. That's the one I'm most excited about. I'm really loving sheep right now, just like the graphics of sheep. I don't have any sheep. I don't have any sheep. I would love to have sheep. I don't have any, but I don't have any in my home decor either. But well, I take that back. I do have one little sheep, little vintage primitive style pull toy that I use for decoration. And you've probably seen that in some of my photos before. It's a wooden sheep on a little pull. Um, it like looks like a little sheep wagon, for lack of better words. But I'm wanting to incorporate more sheep in my decorations. So I saw this little sheep, and that's really what drew me into this set of labels. And I will say, the circle labels are not as fun to cut out. They're not as fun, but you have to have the circles for this kind of jar, right? It has this perfect little jar surface, this little circle surface on this jar, and it's going to be perfect for putting that sheep. Now, I did resize these labels. I enlarged them a little bit. Um, Oh shoot, I just stuck that in the paint. I'm okay. I did enlarge them a little bit to make them fit so that when I cut them out, they'll fit on there. Now I have to look at this from the front. These jars kind of sit on an angle. So I want to make sure that I get them the right angle. Now I'm going to take, that little spot that I showed you that she created, that little punch out little spot. I'm going to take just a little dab of my of a little paintbrush with my coffee grunge, and I'm just going to dab some color of that coffee grunge right over that little circle spot. And it's gonna kind of disguise some of that white look of that little hole right there. It's a make-believe hole. It's a little punch mark. I can't talk today. I'm telling you, I'm just struggling all the way around. Okay. So then what I'm gonna do, I am let me get you all pulled back up over here so I can see you a little bit better. Hey, Miss Jillian, how are you? You have two little sheep on your table. Oh, yeah, perfect for spring. Absolutely. Um, this is still kind of dry. That little wet mark. Okay, I see. I know what I'm gonna do here. Y'all are kind of working with the mess here. I'm gonna take my coffee podge, and I need to get this label on, and then we're gonna trim up the jar with this little bit of a layering technique. Do you see this coffee podge? How when it goes on, it gives you instant primitive color, vintage. If you like things to look aged, look at that. I mean, that's almost like a perfect circle right there. Now, I don't want to put a super heavy coat of that on right now because when I put my label on, if you have too much, too heavy, too thick of a coat on there, it will make your label kind of wrinkle. Now, I will just let me say, it's going to wrinkle anyway, but it will help minimize the wrinkles if you go with a super light coat. Okay. Let me set this up so I can make sure I get this sheep even and level so she is not sitting crooked. Cattywampus. I don't want a cattywampus sheep. Okay, I've got it on there, and now I'm just gonna take the pad of my finger and just smooth it down all the way to the edges and let it grab hold of that coffee podge that's under there. Okay. Now, that's a pretty good application right there. Pretty good. Now, it's going to start wanting to curl up around the edges. Just be patient. Here's what I want you to do next. I want you to take a little dollop or some little pats of that coffee podge on there, okay? And you're going to take your finger and you're just going to smooth it around. And as the paper starts to soak up the moisture in that coffee podge, it's going to want to wrinkle. But if you have that surface wet with the coffee podge on top and smooth your finger over it will help smooth out those wrinkles. And as that coffee podge dries, your label should dry nice and flat. Okay. And just kind of work it. Now you'll see that your fingers they are creating in a little bit of streaking. You'll see a little bit of lines. Just play with it until you get it the way you like it, and then just let go, let off. Okay. Now here's what I'm going to do next. Love the color of that front. Do you like that? Um, did I get my jar? Yes, Kalia. I got them at the Dollar Tree, and I got a set of three of them. I'm going to do. Let me show you. You may have missed these. I'm going to do a hen, a sheep, and a little rabbit on all three of my jars. And I'm going to put the label on both sides. That way if I decide I want to change where I put it one day, it'll be on both sides. Um, Now, if you want this particular label set that you're seeing me use right now, I will put all of that information in my video description when I am finished live today. I will also share that with you on my Telegram channel. For those of you that are on my Telegram channel, I will be sharing that with you over there as well. I will say that she has them on sale right now in her shop, and I think when I grabbed them, they're only like $3 and something. And you can print them and use them as many times as you want. And if you want to, you can even print these on fabric. I'm wanting to create some darling little pillow tucks with these little designs, and I think they would be darling. Okay, so we're just taking this coffee podge and we are taking it all over the jar, and this is actually going to serve as our sealer. Okay, it's going to seal in that chalk paint. It's going to keep it from chipping, and it's going to create a surface that is wipeable. So if you're having these in your kitchen, you will be able to wipe these to clean them. Okay. So there you go. And then it's also giving you that nice coffee grunged look. Okay. Now, I left this side blank because I want to put that label, I want to put a matching sheep on the other side. Okay. But we're going to work with this one side, and you'll see how once you see the process, you can repeat it for all of your others. Okay. Uh, excuse me. Tickle in my throat. These lids, they were a bright, shiny silver. You see what they look like on that side. I coated them with one layer of black chalk paint. I'm coating them with one more to kind of hide the streaks. I don't want to see any of the silver streaks of the from underneath that paint. Oop, oop, I got a little bit too much right there. Um, get that coated really good. We'll let that dry, and then we are going to rust these up a little bit because, well, it's a metal. Any kind of primitive metal should be rusted, right? So, here we go. Making sure I get any like little excess paint globs smoothed out. I don't want any excess. I want it to be able to dry pretty quick. And while it's still wet, if you want to, you can go right on in and sprinkle it with the cinnamon. Let me grab a paper towel to spread out because, cinnamon. You're going to have excess, so we want to make sure that you catch the extra cinnamon and you can put it back in your jar. And while that paint is wet, that cinnamon will stick to it. Now, I don't know if I want the entire lid covered, but we'll see. We'll do one with it covered, and then as we rub it off after it dries, it will rub it back and make it less intense. um, so there we go. While that paint is wet is the best time to get that cinnamon on there. All right. We're doing good. We're doing good. You liking it, Kalia? Good. I'm so glad. I'm just gonna let that stick on there just for a minute. While that paint kind of dries, it'll hold that cinnamon. I'm hoping. I'm not gonna mess with it too much. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do while I'm waiting. Where did I keep losing my scissors? I keep losing my scissors. How are you? How are you, Miss Kim? Um, yes, Miss Terry. It's printed on just regular old copy paper. I mean, it's not old, but you get what I mean. It's just nothing complicated about it. I just printed on regular old printer paper. I printed it in color off on my home printer. I have had several of you say whenever you use printed, things like this, a lot of times your ink will bleed. I have never had a problem with my ink bleeding, so I don't know if that's just a difference in brands. But I've never had a problem with my ink bleeding. If you do, what I would recommend is to make sure that you let your prints dry for maybe an hour before you use them. I think that's a good recommendation there. You can also heat set them. Take a heat tool or blow dryer and just give it some good heat. When you set a stain, you're applying heat. Usually it sets a stain. Well, let's set the ink, give it a little bit of heat to it. Let it dry. That's also helpful. I've heard people recommend to do that. Also, one other tip. So, hopefully, at least one of those tips may help you out. Now, let's see here. I printed this all from, oh my goodness, what is my phone doing? I don't know what it's doing. Um, Hold on. We got a glitch. We got a glitch going on. Hang on. I've got an issue going on, and it's wanting me to log back in. Just want to make sure we're okay here. Just want to make sure we're okay. I don't know what's going on with it. It's not letting me log in. Okay. So let me just real thin coat. I'm going to go ahead and put this sheep on the back side. Um, that way I don't get any funky lines with applying this at a different time. Okay. Make sure this is level here. I might have to, let me hook up my computer here. I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm worried. All right. Smooth this down. Remember, smooth it down with a dry finger first and then go over with a little dab of wet and then smooth it down. Okay, here we go. I think we're okay. I'm a little off centered there. This paper, oh yeah, it's good. Printer paper is easy to adjust, uh, unlike things like napkins or tissue paper. I apologize. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, whew. Okay, we're working. It's okay. We're good. I got a notification on my phone and it freaked me out, but we're all good. We're all good. Okay, moving that down. And of course, the more coffee pods you add to it, the darker it might become. So you might want to test this out a little bit before you kind of go all in to make sure you have your coloring just right on these. Okay, both sides. There we go. Now, I know that little circle at the top there where she has there to cut that out. I've got an idea of what I'm going to do there. I put a little bit of coffee grounds on it, but it didn't quite stay or it didn't color it quite enough. So I've got another trick up my sleeve I'm going to do real quick because if you get these labels, you're probably going to want to do the same thing. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me get my instant coffee. I'm going to sprinkle just a tiny bit right there in my lid, okay? My little crystals are kind of clumpy, so I want to make sure that I get these smashed down a little bit. Mash those down. Okay. So back to this little spot. Ooh, can I pick this up without touching the? Okay, this little spot where it's punched in right there, that little hole right there. She puts a little template there if you want to cut that out. You know where to put it. I'm going to take this little tiny tip of a paintbrush and I'm going to grab just a little bit of the coffee podge. I'm going to put a little drop right in there. And here's what I'm going to do next. Is I'm going to take some of this instant coffee and I'm just going to dabble it around the label just a little bit and kind of grubby it up a little. And that's going to kind of mask it as well as going to give it a little bit of grunge around the circle. And I told you I was going to try to restrain myself a little bit today as far as not over grunging or making it too dark because I'm calling this primitive farmhouse. And with farmhouse, I feel like you need to have quite a bit of cream tones, creams and blacks with a little bit of brown. So I don't want to overdo it there. But that's kind of what I've done just to kind of mask that a little bit. And it always looks, the color always looks way more intense on camera on the video than it does in real life. It does not look that bright and bold on in person. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take my finger and kind of just smooth that out a little bit. It's a little too intense still. So I'm just going to kind of take my finger and just go around the rim there, and that'll kind of help smooth it out while at the same time still having that color. I don't want to go right where I'm trying to mask that little circle though. Okay, I think that's gonna work. I think it's gonna work. Now, I feel like it's a little off balance color-wise. It's a little dark at the top and not much at the bottom. So I'm gonna add just a little bit. And I'm gonna kinda leave that kind of dark at the bottom. I like that. I like that a lot. And that's also gonna help tie some of the color in um, for the cinnamon. So let's give it a quick dry and we're almost gonna wrap this up. We're almost gonna be able to wrap it up. And then I'll finish the rest of these along with the back as well, the back side. Give it a good dry. Let that coffee podge soak in to the label. And then we'll be able to touch it and sit it. I did do all sides, even the bottom. Okay, let's see what we got here. Thank you, Miss Susan. Happy to have you here. I think you would just fix the whole thingy in a you probably could. You probably could, but there's a lot of people that aren't so tech savvy with that kind of thing. So I think it worked out just fine. You love the grunge. Yes, I do too. How are you, Miss Emmy? Now, when you can see, you get a whole set of these. I'm doing a set of three. I'm not going to do them all on video for you today, but you'll get the idea. Um, all three of them are going to have similar, they're going to look at the set, I'll just say. Okay. Some of you may have jumped on after I showed these. Let me just kind of rip this out. I have three labels. They come in a set of 12. It's from one of my favorite designers that I follow on Etsy. She has a set of 12 of them. They have all different farmhouse animals on them. Okay. I'm choosing to do the sheep that I just did on this jar. Okay. The sheep, the chicken, and the rabbit. So these three sets will be perfect. Those three will make a perfect set. Now let's go to our lid here. I think it's not quite all the way dry. Let's give it a little bit of heat, and then we're just gonna brush off that excess cinnamon. Um, could get one of those oblong trays. Yes, Miss Terry. Yes, that's what I've been thinking of. I have like a rectangular primitive style little tray. I'm gonna see if they're gonna work in it. In fact, I grabbed one at Goodwill several years ago that I've never kind of made over. Well, we might be doing that. I think they would fit perfect on a sweet little rectangular tray, tiered tray, or anything like that. Hey, Miss Sandra, how are you? Your daughter's Dutch bunny looks just like that. Oh, perfect. That would be cute. That would make a cute little label for your little set then. You love it, Deborah? Awesome. So glad. I do want to make sure that this paint is really good and dry underneath that cinnamon because when I go to start brushing that cinnamon off, if it's wet, we're gonna have we're gonna have a big mess. Thank you, Miss Kim. I think they're beautiful too, and I'll be sharing the link. I'll put all of that information in my video description. That will take me just a little bit when I'm finished here to go back and add that in, but I will put that in my video description here on YouTube today. And then I'll also be sure to share that with you on my Messenger broadcast channel and Telegram channel. So try to take care of my friends. Oh, it's a little warm. I think the lid's gonna kinda make it, don't you, Miss Pat? It's gonna tie in, the black around that label, and you can fuss with it until you get it just the way you want it. You may even choose to kind of skip some of these steps. If you don't like yours extra grunged, you might choose to skip out a step, and that's totally okay. I just like kinda giving you an idea, and you can use it to make your own. All right, that looks pretty doggone rusty. I love it. Now, let's see how much of the paint is this still, yeah, it's still a little wet on the backside. Let's put this back on. Oh, there we go. Well, maybe. Ooh, I love it. Look how awesome that looks. I love the color. So the black and the cinnamon on that just ties in all of the other colors. It's still a little bit wet, you guys. I don't want to over handle it too much, but just look how sweet that is. Now, if you want to dress it up with a bow, with some Excelsior or whatnot, you could totally do that. I have not decided if I'm going to do that yet. Probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these dry. I'm going to make all three of these up. And using that little tray that I was talking about, I'm going to kind of set them in that tray and kind of see what it looks like. Because I want to set these three together as a set. I feel like that if I really like zhuzhed up all three of these jars, it would kind of take away from the farmhouse simplicity look of it. So I'm going to put them all together in that tray and kind of look at that and see what I think, and then decide how and if I want to even dress them up anymore. I love them really just the way they are. I think I will probably leave them. That I think I'm probably going to leave them as is. Now I have a little bit of a harsh line of color difference right there, so I am going to kind of fuss with that a little bit, get that fixed up to where it looks a little more natural, kind of like this side. Um, so I'll fix that up, and then you be on the lookout. I'll be sharing a finished photo with you, and so that you can kind of get a look along with all the information on where you can find the labels and whatnot. But these jars are only $1.25 at Dollar Tree right now. So go grab you a sweet set. These would make perfect little make and resell items. If you do craft shows, craft fairs, or sell on, online, these would make absolutely darling little pieces without a lot of money involved. They are a little time consuming, but I think once you do several, you would get kind of a pattern, a rhythm going, and you could kick out a bunch of these in no time. The jar is only $1.25. The labels, I think, were like right around $4 right now in that Etsy shop. You can print those as many times as you want. You only pay $4 once to get the design file, and you can print it as many times as you want. So take this idea and run with it. I would love to see your photos. Share them in my All Things Primitive Facebook group, and I'll put that link for you in my video description as well. I love hanging out with you this morning. I'm so glad that you were here. What label did I have on my coffee podge jar? I'll share that with you too. I'll share that with you too. This is from my friend Tracy at Crow's Feet Boutique. She created that sweet custom little coffee podge jar label and sent that to me. Isn't that super sweet? So I'll share that with you as well. Lots of goodies coming to you today. So make sure that you're on my Telegram channel. Make sure that you're on my Messenger broadcast channel, at least one or the other. I'll put links to both of those here in this video description shortly. Thanks so much for joining me. You all have an amazing weekend. Go check out the Craft on the Clock group today and all weekend long. We have some amazing things happening over there for themed live DIY crafting over there. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a wonderful weekend.